Good evening, I'm your host Prasad and you're watching KiniNews. There's a saying, sticks and stones may break my bones but words can never hurt me. Well, except in Malaysia, you can be jailed and fined if you're found guilty of intentionally annoying someone, which is bad news for stand-up comedians, especially Rizal, as he faces 3 charges.
Crackhouse Comedy Club owner Rizal Van Geyzel has been slapped with 3 charges under Section 233 of the Communications and Multimedia Act. This is after he came under scrutiny recently over videos of his comedic performances in the past. Rizal pleaded not guilty to all 3 charges at the Kuala Lumpur Cybercrime Court this morning. Framed under Section 233(3), the charge is for the offence of improper use of network facilities to make an obscene posting with the intent to annoy another person. If found guilty, the comedy club owner may be fined not exceeding 50,000 ringgit, jail for up to a year, or both. A further fine of 1,000 ringgit may also be imposed for each day the offence is continued after conviction. Lawyer Ram Karpal Singh represented Rizal.
1 trillion ringgit is 1 million multiplied by a million. Now our national debt is more than that. To give you an idea, that kind of money will get you 500,000 Lamborghini Aventadors or 16 million top-of-the-line Myvis. The government's debt now stands at 1.045 trillion ringgit or 63.8% of the GDP as of June this year. Finance Minister Tengku Zafrul Abdul Aziz said this in a parliamentary written reply to Padang Serai MP Karupaiya Mutusami. Zafrul said that 43.1 billion ringgit or 18.4% of Putrajaya's estimated total revenue was allocated for the federal government's debt service charges for 2022. He added that by the end of June 2022, a total of 19.8 billion ringgit was spent paying off interest of the government's outstanding debt. Earlier this week, Zafrul assured that the country's fiscal position was still strong and the federal government's debt was still under control. He said the government remains highly disciplined and has never failed to pay interest and mature debts despite having gone through a series of economic and financial recession crises. PAS looks set to be using a new logo in GE15 and discussions are underway with Bersatu. Let us know in the comments what you're expecting it to look like.
PAS President Abdul Awang told reporters today that the party has agreed in principle to use a new Perikatan Nasional logo to face GE15. Speaking to reporters in Marang, Terengganu today, Hadi said the matter will be discussed further with Bersatu soon.
Yang isu penggunaan logo tu, adakah PAS bersetuju untuk menggunakan logo PN yang baru?
Ya, kita sedang bincang.
Setuju?
Bincang.
Sedang bincang.
Bincang bersama Bersatu.
Maknanya sudah bincang.
Akan dibincangkan.
Akan dibincangkan. Bila itu kita akan letakkan betul.
Mesyuarat yang terdekat insyaAllah.
So buat sponsor sekarang ni setuju dengan logo.
Ya.
Hadi said although PAS will be using PN's logo for the next general election, this does not mean that PAS was rejecting Muafakat Nasional. According to Asro Awani, Hadi said Muafakat will continue and PAS will not sway from its agenda to unite Muslims in the country. Hadi's response put to rest talk that PAS might use its own logo in Kelantan, Terengganu and Kedah for the election. The PN Supreme Council has mulled changing the coalition's logo by adding improvements.
Bon Odori events were just held this month. Now, are you ready for another festival? The Malay Civilization Day. And according to the organizer, it's not trying to one-up the Japanese festival.
Islam Defenders Associations has clarified that the Malay Civilization Day was not planned in response to the Bon Odori events held recently. Pembela chairperson Aminuddin Yahaya said the Malay Civilization Day set to take place on July 31st was planned long before. He said the goal was to revive Malay culture. Speaking to Malaysia Kini, he said the event will also help the Malays economically through the sales of busana, tanjak and keris. Aminuddin was elaborating on his Facebook post 2 days ago where he promoted the Malay Civilization Day event while condemning Bon Odori events. At the time, Aminuddin argued that Bon Odori was foreign and contained elements which experts considered un-Islamic. However, Selangor ruler Sultan Sharafuddin Idris Shah disagreed and backed a Bon Odori event which was held at Shah Alam. Meanwhile, Aminuddin explained that the Malay Civilization Day event would include an Islamic exhibition with artifacts never seen before. For example, he said Malays were great seafarers with sailing vessels that were better than the West at a time. He also said people do not know that Malay tin miners were very famous before the arrival of Chinese miners.
Warisan MPs heard the briefing on the Sulu claim last night at an event hosted by the government at a hotel. However, they still wanted to be debated in Parliament.
Two Warisan federal lawmakers are not happy with the closed-door briefing by Attorney General Idrus Harun last night on claims over Petronas assets by the purported descendants of the Sulu Sultanate. Sepanggar MP Aziz Jaman and Kota Belud MP Isnaraisa Munira Majilis, along with Warisan President Shafi Abdul, were among MPs present during the briefing held at the Seri Pacific Hotel in Kuala Lumpur. Malay Daily Sinar Harian quoted Aziz as reiterating demands which were rejected by Dewan Rakyat Speaker Azhar Azizan Harun for the lower house to debate a motion on the matter. He said Warisan is still of the view that there needs to be a debate in Parliament. He also said that they were unsatisfied as there remained to be many unanswered questions. He added that they were not looking to debate a matter that can jeopardize the nation's strategy in going against the purported Sulu-S. While discussions were held behind closed doors, Aziz said the briefing mostly covered the chronology behind claims by the purported Sulu-S, rather than matters that touched on the arbitration award. Further, Isnaraisa, who had 3 rejected motions to debate the claims, reportedly expressed hope for a positive response from the government following the briefing session. Malaysia Kini understands some 50 MPs from the government and opposition parties had attended the briefing by Idrus last night. It was also attended by ministers in the Prime Minister's Department Mustafa Muhammad and Foreign Minister Saifuddin Abdullah.
Police have questioned UMNO's number 2 after a viral interview in which he linked UMNO's struggle to carrying a big kavadi.
UMNO Deputy President Muhammad Hassan has been quizzed by the police over remarks he had made in a recent interview. According to Utusan Malaysia, Sentul District Police Chief Beh Eng Lai confirmed that Muhammad's statements were recorded on Wednesday. The police are also seeking Asia Times reporter Nicholas Kochan, who interviewed Muhammad recently. Beh said investigations are conducted under Section 505(c) of the Penal Code for statements conducing to public mischief and Section 233 of the Communications and Multimedia Act for improper use of network facilities or network services. After Asia Times published an article on the interview, Muhammad claimed that some of his remarks regarding former Prime Minister Najib Abdul Razak related to the 1MDB scandal were taken out of context. In response, Kochan published the audio recording of the entire interview. Following this, Bersatu Associates Wing Chief S. Gobi Krishnan lodged a police report over Muhammad's remark during the interview where he described UMNO as carrying a big kavadi. The big kavadi remark was not published by Asia Times.
Rafizi Ramli is ready to justify his articles in court after he was accused of defaming former Sapura Energy boss Shahril Samsudin. PKR Deputy President Rafizi Ramli is ready to prove in court the contents of his 3 articles that are subject to a defamation suit against him. The former Pandan MP cited justification in his statement of defense against the civil action by Sapura Energy Berhad's former president and CEO, Shahril Samsudin. Under the law, justification is a defense that the statements or allegations are factual, and if proven successful in court, this would act as an absolute defense against legal action. Shahril, who is presently Sapura Group's president and CEO, is suing Rafizi over 3 allegedly defamatory articles. The articles were carried on Rafizi's blog between March 31st and April 4th. The 3 articles formed part of Rafizi's then online debate with former Prime Minister Najib Abdul Razak over whether it was proper for public funds to be used to bail out Sapura Energy and over the root cause of the company's financial distress. Among the issues at the heart of the debate was whether Shahril's remuneration as then CEO was excessive. On March 18th, Burnama reported that Sapura Energy suffered a 8.9 billion ringgit loss for the financial year ending January 31st, 2022, and its subsidiaries were served with winding up petitions. And that is all from me today. For more stories, you can go to KiniTV.com. You can also follow us on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube and Facebook for the latest news updates. If you'd like to support independent media, do consider subscribing to MalaysiaKini.com. I'm Prasad. Thank you for watching.